Before Abraham appears, Genesis describes a world marked by the fall of humanity, violence and corruption, the flood, the scattering at Babel. Humanity is drifting further from God. Into this broken world, God chooses one man through whom he will begin a new story of restoration. The call. God speaks into Abraham's ordinary life. Abraham, then called Abram, is living in Ur of the Chaldeans, a thriving ancient city. He is not a king, warrior, or priest, just a man with a family, land, and responsibilities. Yet God interrupts his life with a command and a promise. Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. This call requires Abraham to leave his homeland, his culture, his security, his inheritance, everything familiar. It is a call to trust God without knowing the destination. The promises, a covenant that shapes history. God gives Abraham a series of promises that become the foundation of the biblical narrative. 1. A great nation. Abraham and Sarah are childless, yet God promises descendants as numerous as the stars. 2. A land. God promises to give Abraham's offspring the land of Canaan. 3. A great name. Abraham will be honored and remembered. 4. Blessing and protection. God will bless those who bless Abraham and oppose those who harm him. 5. Blessing for all nations through Abraham. Every family on earth will be blessed, a promise ultimately fulfilled through Jesus. These promises form the Abrahamic covenant, a binding relationship between God and Abraham's descendants. The journey of faith. Obedience without full understanding. Abraham obeys. He leaves his homeland and travels to Canaan. His journey is marked by building altars, worshiping God, facing famine, navigating conflict, rescuing Lot, receiving visions, making mistakes, learning trust. Abraham's faith is not perfect, but it is persistent. The covenant ceremony. God binds himself to his promise in Genesis 15. God performs a dramatic covenant ritual. Abraham prepares animal sacrifices, and God, symbolized by a smoking firepot and blazing torch, passes between the pieces. This act means God binds himself to the promise. The covenant does not depend on Abraham's perfection. God guarantees the future of Abraham's descendants. It is one of the most powerful moments of divine commitment in Scripture. The promise of a son. Isaac, Abraham, and Sarah wait decades for the promised child. They struggle with doubt and even attempt to fulfill the promise through Hagar, resulting in the birth of Ishmael. Yet God insists, Sarah will bear you a son. When Abraham is 100 and Sarah is 90, Isaac is born. His name means laughter, reflecting both disbelief and joy. The test. Faith refined on Mount Moriah. In one of the most dramatic scenes in the Bible, God tests Abraham by asking him to sacrifice Isaac. Abraham obeys, trusting God's character even when he cannot understand the command. At the last moment, God stops him and provides a ram. This moment reveals Abraham's deep trust. God's rejection of human sacrifice, God's provision, a foreshadowing of Jesus. The ultimate sacrifice. God reaffirms his covenant with even greater intensity. The legacy. Abraham becomes the father of nations. Abraham's story becomes the foundation for the nation of Israel, the lineage of the Messiah, the concept of faith in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the biblical understanding of covenant. The promise of blessing to all nations. The New Testament calls Abraham the father of all who believe. The heart of the story, the call of Abraham, is ultimately about trusting God's voice, stepping into the unknown, receiving promises bigger than one lifetime, becoming part of God's plan to heal the world. It is the beginning of a covenant story that stretches from Genesis to Revelation.